Our next story is going to broaden the definition of art even more. It fully lives up to the meaning of the words creative license. Part archaeology and history, part lithography with sculpting, storytelling, and taxidermy thrown in for good measure, all presented with verbal and visual sleight of hand by an artist who proudly doesn't play by the rules.
Hello, my name is Beauvais Lyons. I'm a professor at the University of Tennessee and director of the Hokes archives. What we have here are a few prints of the Azudian culture, and these are records by Lucas Farley. And he took his entire record collection after his mother died and did paintings and collages on the records. This is the hedgehog bass. This was presumably caught along the Holston River in East Tennessee, and it's quite unusual because most fur-covered fish are found in northern waters. And in this library we have the largest adult male centaur specimen in a university east of the Mississippi.
Amazing archaeological artifacts. Minor masterpieces of American folk art, confused composite creatures of the animal kingdom, all unique, all, to put it bluntly, artistically fabricated fakes. And all created and presented with childlike delight by this man, this artist, Beauvais Lyons.
It itself is an artifact, a printed artifact of artifacts. And I like the idea of the artifact even more so than the idea of art, because it's got fact in it, of course, right? As director of the Hokes archives, I oversee a collection that I claim was first created in the late 19th century by a rather rare publisher named Everett Ormsby Hokes. It's a museum of sorts that allows me to present cultural artifacts and cultural histories of my own invention.
What Beauvais Lyons invents through sculpture, through lithograph prints, through detailed stories, through artistic tools both common and unorthodox, is solid evidence of worlds, people, and civilizations that never existed. Except, of course, in the high-octane imagination of this artist's mind.
When someone comes to an exhibit from the Hokes archives, at first they will encounter a presentation that looks like any other archaeological exhibit they might see in a natural history museum, or an exhibit in a folk art museum or a medical museum. So one of the ceramic artifacts I made previously is a vessel with an inverted spout. And we don't know what these were used for. There's much speculation, of course. But as Mark Twain always said, if you want to tell a lie, you have to throw a little truth in there. So the truth is that there are vessels with inverted spouts in the exhibit. I want the viewer to be in a place of sometimes nervous discomfort, not quite sure what they're looking at, not sure if when I'm giving a tour of one of these exhibits, I'm pulling their leg or not. Here is a handsome example of excavations that were conducted in the mid-1980s in Volos, Greece.
I was thinking about this last night, and it kind of came to me that one of the things that's interesting, and always has been interesting to me about Beauvais' work, is that he does the same thing, but he invents his material. I have to go look for my material, and so I'm always sort of chasing this kind of mystery or this sort of story about how this came about, and he invents the story. Yeah. So in a way, on the one hand, I can find this irritating and offensive.
But if I don't ruffle a few feathers, then maybe I'm not doing my job as an artist or a university professor, you know.
For people who don't mind some artistic sleight of hand, who appreciate the art of the visual and verbal prank, there is genuine and rock-solid creativity behind Beauvais' counterfeit creatures and civilizations.
So here we have lithographs that depict various Egyptian columns.
The passionate core of Beauvais' art is printmaking.
Here we have a lithographic limestone. In order to prepare it for the next image, I have to remove that old image.
But this printmaking has no use for computer graphic software because this is lithography.
There's nothing like it.
Lithography is art on the rocks. In use during the 19th and early 20th centuries, its images mimic the authentic age look Beauvais strives for in his prints.
It's the most seductive drawing surface because the way the stone is prepared with the graining creates this beautiful tooth. My goal is not to make more lithographers in the world, but to give people this experience of this artistic tradition. And they can apply that skill when they work as filmmakers or graphic designers or in other forms of their creative pursuits in the future too.
The lithographs are visual storytelling, playfully reinforcing the reality of the artist's imaginary world.
Well, in inventing Everett Ormsby Hokes, I invented his life of scholarship. So there's his archaeological period and later his medical work. Exhibit presents what appears to be rather authentic looking anatomical diagrams and dissection studies and so forth. And I'm very much interested in that tension between the beauty of the body and the grotesqueness of it. It's sort of like Dr. Seuss is designing the body here. This collection of prints I present as being a project of the Association for Creative Zoology. And the idea is that different species are the result of a kind of zoomorphic juncture, a combination of different animals.
The world of Beauvais Lyons is energetic and entertaining, creative and confusing, and that's just the way he likes it.
Initially, I was just really confused because my initial encounter with Beauvais' work was just online, and I was going through his website, and it was just really vast and kind of confusing, and I was like, what is this guy a scientist or a printmaker, or what? Is this religious?
I am a longtime colleague and friend of Professor Beauvais Lyons, and one of many who believes that his peculiar way of mixing art and play in a way that's in danger of making people think, while it amuses them, is something that's altogether useful for a 21st century university.
When you encounter an artist who defies being categorized, it always helps to know just how this all got started.
My father was an English professor in Baghdad in 1964 when I was 6 years old, and in Tehran in the early 70s. So I went to a number of archaeological sites in the Middle East, and because of that I went to a number of museums, so all of that informed my experience as well. We have a couple crates here from the Hokes archives.
Along the way, a true artist always leaves himself open to new discoveries.
Having lived in the South now for 25 years, I'm a native originally of Wisconsin, I developed an appreciation for traditions of folk art. And my students introduced me in some respects to folk art because of their own enthusiasms about it. Another artist in the collection is Lester Coleman Dowdy, and so I have a number of his lumberjacks. Lester Coleman Dowdy would take these puppets and use them in healing ceremonies. So this was Mr. Kidney Stone, and if you had a kidney stone, you'd go to Lester and he'd play his harmonica.
Some artists sit by silently and let their art speak for them. Beauvais Lyons will have none of that. As a matter of fact, performance and storytelling are a part of his art.
I think his growth as an artist has been entirely in the performance area. I mean, when he first came to the School of Art, he was doing the performance piece of his work, but I don't believe that it was as important to him as it is now, and as inventive.
And the fresco nearest to us shows Eklam and Tulam, the ideal married couple, sharing a meal together.
As he's told me on more than one occasion, he steals from the past, but he knows he's stealing from the past, and he does it with a certain kind of flair and a certain kind of impunity that I find very engaging.
He doesn't actually say you have to get all of this right now, but like a good narrative, it kind of builds.
This is fossil evidence for the bull raccoon, which is a combination of the bull Taurus raccoon crocatensis.
I think that as an artist, that's a really courageous thing to do, because you don't get the sort of validation that they're getting it all right there.
This one here has a combination of a kangaroo upper body with a gazelle lower body, and then this is the kangaroo lower body with a rodent upper body. Really the ideal would be to decorate a doctor's office with these prints, but they're just a little too macabre probably for most doctors' offices.
Just when you think art is destined to always be viewed as a serious, somber, and snobbish affair, along comes someone to say it can still be fun.
So I envision a future in which thousands of Tennessee sports fans would wear this bull raccoon hat as an expression of their love of the bull raccoons. This is like you are having difficulty with vision, Mr. Four Eyes, so different ailments here. There's other things, there's pottery, there's an alien communication device, there's scripture on the back of cereal boxes by Max Pritchard. Art should be fun because I think it liberates the mind when we laugh. I think we can see the world for what it really is sometimes when we can laugh at it, and we can appreciate its absurdities. So if my art is a catalyst for people to help them do that, I think that's a good thing.
Encountering creative detours, but never roadblocks, the imagination of Beauvais Lyons travels on, doing in a unique way what artists have always done, reflecting on our world by creating their very own. In upcoming editions of Creative License, we'll relive the history and hear the music of the Fisk Jubilee Singers. Travel back in time to see how a little girl overcame the atrocities of a Civil War battle to become a world-acclaimed painter. Spend time with a master craftsman who builds beautiful instruments for making music. We'll watch the creative process of a metal sculptor whose work decorates public places in Memphis, and get to know an adventurous painter whose work shows the influence of his childhood in Africa. You can learn more about Creative License and the artists we feature by going to creativelicensetv.com. I hope you'll be in the audience next time as we use our own creative license for the art of storytelling on an electronic canvas called television. I'm Barry Scott. Until next time, be well.
This program was produced in partnership with the Tennessee Arts Commission, a grant-making agency working so the citizens of Tennessee have access to the arts and the opportunity to participate in the arts. This is accomplished in part from the sale of university, specialty, and personalized license plates, providing grant dollars for cultural activities to every community in Tennessee. The arts add value to the lives of our citizens and make Tennessee a better place to live. Additional information is available at arts.state.tn.us.